Mr. Morneau, can you please give me all of the account of how many times you spoke about we charity with your staff or your officials?
I've tried to give an understanding of the process and the deliberations. I think you've heard from me in my prepared statements the
Just
periods of briefing.
How many times did you speak about we with your staff or your officials? The number of times, please.
I think what you will hear in my prepared remarks, I went through a number of briefings, and those were the times where this was the discussion.
Well, just to recap where we are, you and the Prime Minister gave $912 million to the real estate holding arm of a group that had paid the Prime Minister's family $300,000 and gave your daughter a job and your family $41,000 in illegal travel expenses. That's just what we know so far. We know that this is illegal. We know that you ought to have recused yourself under Section 21 of the Conflict of Interest Act. Public office holder shall recuse himself from any discussion, decision, debate, or vote on any matter in respect to which he or she would be in a conflict of interest. We also know that no public office holder, of which you are one, under Section 11, shall accept any gift or other advantage, including from a trust, that might reasonably be seen to have been given to influence the public office holder in the exercise of an official power, duty, or function. You have violated that section as well in accepting $41,000 of secret travel expenses. You've only admitted now that you did that the same day you're called to testify under oath in the matter, over a year after the gifts were accepted. You are a minister who has already been found guilty of violating the Conflict of Interest Act when you failed to reveal the existence of your villa in France. Minister, you have lost the moral authority to hold your office, and it is the position of Her Majesty's loyal opposition that you resign. Will you resign?
Mr. Minister, the floor is yours.
Mr. Chair, and to the questioner, I want to just make very clear that there were, in fact, mistakes made here. I have said quite clearly that in hindsight, I should have recused myself from this decision when it came to Cabinet. I did not know that there were expenses that had not been charged to me in that travel. And that work.
Sorry, Minister.
Mr. Poilievre, we're usually pretty sticky the other way in time, so we'll be sticky this way today. The Minister has the floor for a little longer. Go ahead, Mr. Minister.
As I said, I did not know that there were expenses that were not charged to me, but I'm not making an excuse. It was my mistake not to have taken responsibility to ensure that those expenses were paid. And I found that out only with a thorough review of my records over the course of the last few days. And that is absolutely a mistake on my behalf. I've then turned around to reimburse, which I know is important. And I will
Minister,
continue.
Still has time. Go ahead.
Will continue to work on behalf of Canadians. I want to put this in context. The program that we were trying to deliver for students to get them engaged in volunteering, we believe is very important, and that's important work that I will continue to do with my government.
Over to Mr. Poilievre.
Canadians will find it impossible to believe that this organization showered you with $41,000 worth of luxury and accommodations, and that you didn't know about it. That somehow you were enjoying all of these benefits and expenses paid for you while you were on an exotic vacation to Ecuador, and that somehow you didn't even know that the expenses occurred. Who did you think was paying for all of the wine and the food and the luxury travel that you were consuming? Did you think that it was just falling out of the sky, Minister? Who did you think was paying for these tens of thousands of dollars of luxurious expenses that you were enjoying? Where did you think it was coming from?
That's the last question. We give the minister time to respond. Go ahead, Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. As I've said, we did go back and look at our records and found the travel and hotel costs, but didn't find any charges to us from the WE facilities. This should have been something that we rectified sooner. It was absolutely in error. I, in looking through my records, was completely surprised at this situation, and that's not an excuse. That's just what happened. So I, Mr. Chair, can just say that again. This was an excuse, and that's no excuse rather, and it's a mistake.